Okay, for most sales leaders, the P&L statement, the profit and loss, it feels like it belongs over in the finance department, right? But what if I told you it's actually one of the most powerful secret weapons you have in your arsenal? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unlock it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in this spot? You and your team, you absolutely crush your revenue target, but then you get to the all-hands meeting and hear the company actually missed its profit goal. It's super frustrating, right? And it makes you wonder, wait, what happened between all that money I brought in and the money the company actually got to keep? Well, the answer to that whole mystery, it's hiding in plain sight right there in the P&L. So, it's time we reframe this thing. This is not some boring financial report card. No way. It's your key to finally moving beyond just chasing top-line revenue and into the world of smart, profitable, and sustainable growth. I want you to think of the P&L less like a grade on how you did last quarter and more like a strategic map for your future. I mean, it shows you the entire landscape. It points out where the treasure chests of opportunity are, where the hidden traps of high costs lie, and it shows you the fastest, most efficient route to your real destination, true profitability. So, how do we actually read this map? Honestly, it's way simpler than you probably think. We're going to break it down into 5 key landmarks that every single sales leader needs to know. And don't worry, we're going to skip all the complicated accounting jargon. This is the P&L for sales strategists. Look at this. This is basically the whole journey. It all flows in a really logical way. You start at the very top with total revenue. That's your number. That's what your team brings in. From there, you just subtract the direct costs of whatever you sold. That gets you to gross profit. Then you subtract all the costs of just running the business, and you land right on the bottom line, net profit. That's the whole thing. 5 simple steps. All right, let's zoom in on that first big deduction, the cost of goods sold, or COGS as you'll hear it called. These are simply the direct costs. Think raw materials, the labor to build the thing that go into what you sell. Now, why should you care? Because if your COGS are creeping up, but your prices are staying the same, your profit is shrinking on every single deal you close, even if your revenue is going up. Next up are the operating expenses, or OPEX. This is basically the cost of keeping the lights on. We're talking your team's salaries, rent, the CRM and sales tools you use, the marketing budget, all of it. For you as a sales leader, this number is a direct reflection of your team's efficiency. Are we spending way too much to bring in a new customer? Could our sales process be a little leaner? You can actually get a pretty good ballpark for your customer acquisition cost right from the P&L just by looking at your sales and marketing spend and dividing it by your new customer count. Okay, so now we know how to read the map. It's time to find the treasure. See, the real power of the P&L isn't just looking at those big standalone numbers, it's about understanding the relationships between them. These are the metrics that will absolutely elevate your strategy. For years, the old school view in sales was just to obsess over that big total revenue number. That's it. But the strategic view, the modern view, looks so much deeper. It starts asking better questions like, what's our revenue growth rate? And maybe even more important, is that growth coming from our high profit products, or are we just selling a ton of low margin stuff? It's all about the quality of your revenue, not just the quantity. And this quote right here, it just nails the danger of ignoring that quality. Chasing revenue at any cost? Well, it can lead you to sell products with paper-thin margins, offer crazy discounts that just kill your value, and you end up burning through cash. It is such a classic trap, but it's one that a P&L's savvy leader like you can easily sidestep. So what should you really be tracking? Here are 4 of the most critical metrics you can pull directly from your P&L. We're talking gross profit margin, net profit margin, your OPEX ratio, and that customer acquisition cost we mentioned. Think of these as your new North Stars. Gross profit margin is like your first major health check. After you pay for the direct cost of the product itself, what percentage of that sale is left over? A healthy high margin tells you you've got a profitable core product and a solid pricing strategy. But a margin that's starting to decline, that's an early warning flare that something's off with either your costs or your price. And then we get all the way down to the bottom line, net profit margin. This is it. After every single expense is paid, COGS, salaries, rent, taxes, the whole shebang. What percentage of that initial revenue is left as pure profit? This is the ultimate scorecard. It shows exactly how much your team's hard, efficient work really contributed to the company's bottom line financial health. So, look, understanding these numbers is one thing, but acting on them, that's the game changer. This is where you really level up from being a sales manager to a true business leader. So let's talk about how to turn all these insights into real, concrete, profit-driving strategies. These insights from the P&L lead you directly to some seriously powerful strategies. I mean, you can start optimizing your product mix by having the team focus on the high-margin winners. You can have a smart data-backed conversation about pricing. You can look at your sales process to cut out waste. And maybe the biggest one of all, you can start to align sales incentives, not just with revenue, but with profitability. The connection here is just so direct and powerful. The P&L is giving you clear signals for what to do next. You see your gross margin falling, that's a signal to go look at your pricing. You see your operating expenses are climbing faster than your revenue. That's a signal to find some efficiencies. The map is literally telling you which way to turn. And listen, this can't be a once-a-year thing you look at. The market's always changing. Your costs change. Your customers' behavior changes. By reviewing these trends on a regular basis, you can spot a problem when it's just a tiny little dip, not after it's become a giant sinkhole. This lets you adapt your strategy proactively and always stay ahead of the game. When you put this all together, this understanding, it really changes the way we define what success in sales even looks like. It's all about creating a new bottom line that goes way beyond just a single number on a spreadsheet, because that's what the P&L really is. It's the story of your business. It doesn't just tell you what happened, it tells you why it happened. And once you understand that story, you're not just managing a sales team anymore. You are a key architect in building a stronger, more resilient, and way more profitable company. So I'll leave you with this to think about after everything we just went through, from COGS all the way to net profit margin. What is the one metric from the P&L that you are going to start tracking tomorrow? The one that's going to help?